Okay, and Debbie, what are organoids?
Right, so I just want to put a little warning. So if anybody's having lunch, or if anybody's got any children around, or you're feeling a little bit queasy at the moment, you might want to refresh a bit later when you're not about to eat your lunch. I want to talk very quickly about NIBS, the National Institute for Biological Standards, which are part of the MHRA. Now, I wasn't aware until actually yesterday, the MHRA board meeting, where Mark Bailey, the Chief Tech Officer, he was talking about the fact that they were the global lead in stem cell research and stem cell bank. And here you can see that they're ready with their stem cell lines now available for clinical development. So this is a big subject. Stem cells really are master cells. They're the body's master cells. They renew. So what do we do with stem cells? So if you're about to eat your lunch, look away, because this is what I've discovered we're doing with stem cells. So we are actually growing brains in a lab. And what you can see there is on the right is a lab made mini brain with eyes. Now, these are made from stem cells. So we go back to nibs so you can see the connection there. So these organoids, as they're called, they're tiny 3D tissue cultures. They're originally stem cells. And if you think it's a bit Frankenstein-y, you'd be absolutely right. But you know what? Business is booming. Organoid business is massive. You can grow a liver, a brain, eyes, muscles, skin, pretty much whatever you want, a little miniature one. So we're going into little tiny miniature science here, nanoparticulars, etc., miniature. So let's look at a little bit more about human organoids and brain organoids, because you know what? We can make them brainier. They're that clever. This is miniature science. So if we can make these little brains, which look like little tiny clusters of cells in the labs, what else can we do with them? Maybe they could be conscious. In fact, some people are saying maybe they're sentient. So, uh, this is an article here. I'm just pointing people in the direction here of what is going on in life sciences. This is not science fiction. This is science fact. So, in Dr. Alison Mutorti's laboratory, there are literally thousands of little brains growing, literally just growing. So let's flip on again to the next slide, and we can see that Pfizer, oh, they're knee deep in organoids. They've been into the market of organoids for a very long time. And Alex might be interested to know that the whole organoid business was invented or discovered in Utrecht and by a man called Dr. Hans Cleaver. So clearly we've got pharmaceutical involvement going on with organoids. But let's see how many organoids we can actually find, because there's an organoid for everything. So I've just literally got a few articles here that I've put all on one page, so you can see that we can use organoids from human fetuses. We've got next generation cancer organoids. We've got tumor derived organoids. We've got heart forming organoids. You name it, we've got it. But what did interest me was how you made these organoids. And without saying too much, I just want to point people in this direction, because it seems that organoids require hydrogel or matrigel, which is a preservative, and it needs to be frozen. All of these organoids need to be frozen between -80 and -135. So at -80, they can be preserved for about 6 months. But who's involved in organoids? Well, in this country, we're going to go straight back. Remember where Dr. Alison Cave came from in the MHRA? Let's have a look at Wellcome Sanger, because the Wellcome Sanger have a massive project and they've developed 100 cancer organoid models already. And then you go into cell model passports. This gets very, very technical, and I'm not I'm not a bioengineer. So I'm literally finding this out. And what I want to do is to show people what is actually going on in the scientific world. But very quickly, if we just jump forward again, we can see that not only are we growing things in labs, but we're putting things on chips. So this is an organ on a chip. And if anybody wants to search, just put into the search bar organs on a chip, it'll light up like a Christmas tree. This is big, booming business. This is basically having a chip and it will regenerate your organs. So if it detects that one of your organs isn't working terribly well, it'll go, oh wow, don't worry, we'll be able to send the right whatever it is, electrical impulses or medicines, pharmacological interventions to regenerate that organ. But we're not doing just labs on a chip and brains on a chip. We're doing everything on a chip. And here you can see we're modeling brains on a chip. So everything seems to be going on a chip, and this really isn't science fiction. It's science fact, and you can see there's a lab on a chip, micro. I can't even say it. Microfluidics, a World Congress, which is about to be held this December in California. So this is where we're going, folks, and this is a very scary development in where we're going within life sciences. And I just wanted to highlight that and navigate people to have a look at organoids, research them a little bit more, because there's much more in this story than we perhaps realize.
And Debbie, if I can just respond to that and say, and of course, nobody is regulating these people and their experiments in any sensible way. You've just demonstrated to us by that, by the couple of clips of the MHRA, that we've got people quite clearly, well, how do we describe? Well, I'm going to call them incompetent. Their whole nature makes them unsuitable to provide regulation. And yet these techniques are now going to be unleashed on the public as experiments, as black triangle medication, in inverted commas. It's outrageous.
Well, one very, very quick point there, Brian. The MHRA yesterday in their board meeting quite clearly said they were a regulator. 100% they said it. June Rain said she is a regulator. So she can't make up her mind whether she's a regulator, an enabler, but clearly there are huge conflicts of interest. And one little point that people might be interested in is the word organoid. Do you remember me talking about Dr. James Giordano, DARPA, Pentagon, neuroscientist? Organoid is actually an anagram of Giordano. Just a weird fact to throw in there to end it.
Yeah,
Okay,
good.
thank you for that.
One final slide then, which I think we should leave on a slightly lighter note. You've got two here. One is a bunch of commercial airliners, and the caption is "World Leaders on their way to another climate conference." I believe there were 400 business jets flew in for the COP27. But anyway, that's another thing. And then on the right, we've got the meme saying, remember the plague that wiped out the Amish because they didn't vaccinate their children? Yeah, me neither. So that sums it up.
Yeah, we'd better end there. Alex, Debbie, thank you very much for joining us. A very big thank you to our audience, wherever you are in the world. Thank you to all the people who email us to thank us for what we do. It's a very big boost for all of us here in the UK column. And please share the material. And if you can support us by making a donation or taking out a membership with us, that is utterly brilliant. Our intention is to grow, and we're promising you some good news before Christmas. So help us make that happen.
Back in a couple of minutes for extra.
Okay, bye-bye.